My name's Savannah, and I was born in Greenville, South Carolina, but I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm 20 years old. Growing up, my mom, she wasn't married when she had me. My birth dad nearly killed my mom in front of me and my brother. My mom, she was on drugs. She eventually got married and had 3 more kids. I had seen churches, I had actually been to church a couple of times, but my mom, my stepdad, they didn't practice the religion. They didn't talk about God. My Nana, who actually I was really close to when I was younger, she went to church and she believed in God. So when I was allowed to go to her house, I would get to go to church. It was an abusive home, abusive family. We were very neglected. I left home when I was 14, and at that time it felt, I didn't care because I wanted to put on a front for myself that I was strong and I didn't need anybody and I could do this. As I got older, I noticed more and more things, but there was nothing I could do. My stepdad was chosen over me in my mom's point of view, and I just left. She told me don't come back. Inside, I was scared. I felt alone, and I had nobody. If no one cares to help or do anything, then why should I care what happens to myself? On the streets at that age, trying to go to school, eventually in high school I stopped going. I had to find ways to take care of myself. Trying to be an adult at that age, you're not supposed to be, so you're not even doing what you're supposed to be doing as a child, so I didn't have a childhood. When I was 16, I moved to Philadelphia on my own. I was at a train station, walking around, just what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? I seen this guy. He had a lot of money, nice car, looked nice, was really nice. Approached me, were like, are you okay? Do you need somewhere to go? I don't have a house here. I was here with some friends. They left me. I don't know what to do. He said, you can come to my house. You can come hang out and be at my house. We'll figure out something, we'll just get you some food. Everything will be okay. So I go to his house. I paid attention to, he had a huge house, lots of women there, lots of guys coming back and forth, getting drugs from him, leaving, coming back with money. I just thought, oh, okay, he's, obviously something wasn't okay or normal. I was only 16. So he knew I was young. He was probably about 37 years old, 38 years old. I was felt powerful or special because I was just sitting on his bed watching all of this happen. I didn't know he was a pimp until the next day. I woke up and we opened the door of his room and there was girls laying in the hallway, dope sick because they needed heroin. And when he gave it to them, they're like, okay, you gonna go to the gas station and get a card and post us on Backpage, post us online. And then I was like, whoa, so you are the person that sells all these girls, And at that when I realized that moment, I was like, dang, why isn't he doing that to me? I felt special because I wasn't one of those girls that was running up and down the basement stairs and so much people coming and going. When his friends would come over there and buy drugs from him and stuff, he would be like, oh yeah, this is my favorite girl. But I didn't, until I seen what the other girls were doing and stuff, I didn't really think of it in a way because I wasn't doing that. And I knew men were coming to see them, but I didn't really know what all was going on. I would try to leave and I would kind of get caught in the act, why are you bringing a bag with you to walk to the corner store if you're only going to the corner store, you know, like kind of try to find a way. And somehow it was, I couldn't leave. And then when I did have a chance, I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? You know, nothing bad's happened so far. It went downhill really quick. I actually did leave. I was in the same neighborhood because I didn't have anywhere to go. I don't really know who the two men were, who I assume he paid with either drugs or money to come and find me for him, but they did. And when I woke up, I remember getting carried out of a car, and I knew it was his house because I knew the paper on the walls that go down to the basement, but I was beat pretty bad. And when I went down to the basement, there was like 5-6 men down there. They would give him money and they would rape me, and I literally, I can remember falling asleep, and if I fell asleep, he would kick me in my head, or somebody, if he had to go somewhere, he would pay people to watch me. I was actually down there for, it was almost 2 weeks, it was 12 days, and I actually turned 17 down there. The girl who he paid in heroin or something, she passed out on heroin and she dropped her phone on the ground. And I texted my Nana who lives in South Carolina, and I said, "It's Savannah, they won't let me leave." Like 20 minutes later, a bunch of police showed up and they went out the back door. And when I remember the police were carrying me out, I heard a guy, he was like, "Why, if you guys aren't keeping her here, why are you trying to hide all her stuff?" They were trying to figure out where I belonged and who I belonged to. I told him who my mom was. She was like, "Oh, well, there's nothing I can do. What do you want me to do?" They took me to the hospital first, and I was there for a couple of days. I remember this woman, she had to do some rape kits on me, and she had to take pictures of me naked. And I remember being so angry at her. Like, why are you taking all these pictures of me? Like, can't you just do what you have to do, like, and let me go? I don't remember exactly what I said to her, but I just looked at her like, do you know what just happened to me? I didn't even know I was detoxing from heroin, but I was. Like, I didn't even know what that felt like. I finally called my Nana, and she was like, "No, you know, when she's physically able, you know, put her on a train and she can come with me." You know, like, things had already been bad, but I feel like that was like the breaking point. Like, literally, I did not care what happened to me after that. I came back to South Carolina, and it was downhill from there. I had some people that were out of the country, and they stayed in Atlanta, and they would, bring drugs to Greenville, and I was pretty heavy involved with them. Like, a lot of, like, money transactions. I needed people that were legal. I was being trafficked at the time, ever since when I was 16. So I was 18. These people were serious. This is what they did to people. This is how they lived. This is how they had all these cars, all these houses. It's a real thing that happens everywhere. It's not just a Dirty Roach Motel thing. It's everywhere. I knew what was going on, but you can't just leave. And I had already learned my lesson, you know, I can't just leave. I already did that before, you know. If I was with one person in particular, I didn't have to work that day. I didn't have to sell my body to all day long, all night long. Worry about what hotel I was going to go to next. Worry about where I was going to get drugs at, or if the police were going to see me when I was here, or worry about this or that. I was with these people because that's what it resorted to. It was too hard to be out there working by myself. I'll just act like I'm this guy's girlfriend, you know, and everything will be fine. Still being trafficked by him because in return for everything I needed and everything, you know, he wanted me to sleep with him. He wanted me to go around his friends and stuff like that and, you know, be seen with him. You know, I knew he was a paranoid person, you know, because he trafficked drugs over state lines, you know, out of the country. And I mean, of course, he'd be paranoid using drugs as well, but he never told me he was running from, like, the federal government. Like, I didn't know that. I fell asleep in the car after being awake for a couple days. I woke up. Our car was in a ditch. He was actually being set up by Homeland Security. I was there in the car, you know, had paperwork of money transactions, everything, you know, had pounds of methamphetamines in the car, firearms in the car, money in the car. You know, they weren't playing around, like, and next thing you know, I was in federal jail for 10 months. I really at that point wished that I was dead instead of in jail. A lady who is an advocate, she had been trying to get me off the streets for a long time now, and I would always dip out on her like, nah, you know, I can't, not me, you know, there's no way for me to get out of all this. I would expect for somebody to give up on me after that long because everyone else did. So why is this lady still coming to see me in jail? And she came to see me. She was like, Savannah, I want to help you again. I'm trying to help you. I was like, well, there's no way out of this. I was really just hopeless, like really just mad at myself, mad at God, mad at everyone. And I don't know what it was, but one day, after about 2.5 months of being in jail, I started reading my Bible and going to church in jail. Like, they have people that come and talk to you. I started actually, like, trying to have hope. She was talking to me, you know. We have this lady that has this house for girls, you know. You want to call her and see, like, if you can go to her house? And I was like, they're not going to let me go to her house. I actually just signed a plea to go to prison for 72 to 120 months. The least they give me was 72, the most 128. Hard for me to have hope at that point. Like, I already signed paperwork, but she was still fighting for me. And I was about to be sent off to prison. I had just went to court another time, and they're like, okay, anytime now, you know, like, you're gonna go here, and here, and then eventually you'll be at a federal prison somewhere, either Florida, Virginia. We don't know where. I didn't know what it meant to have a relationship with God. I didn't know what to be intimate with Him meant, or, you know, what it felt like to be that, to, you know, to have a God that I can just run to, or that I don't have to worry about what is next, or, you know, control or have answers for myself. I didn't know that even existed. Why would someone love me, you know? It was on October 14th of 2017, she came and she was like, what size clothes do you wear? And She said, "You're gonna go to court this week." And they're gonna let you go to her house. That is the point where I know Jesus was after my heart, and that he doesn't want all that for me. And that is where he found me, where I was like, I will spend the rest of my life like trying to find him, trying to like feel that feeling that I felt when I was like, he really answered me, you know, like there really is a way out of this right now. I walked into their house and I just started crying because I never been around nice people, you know, or people that want to like do stuff for me or be there for me. Like I never even felt like emotions before. I didn't even know like what I like to do or anything. I didn't know, like, you know, I knew maybe John 3:16, you know, and that's a good verse to know, but I didn't know nothing about God. There's so much that has changed about me that it's like I never thought I would feel happy ever again in my life. And it's like now I just want to like tell people, it doesn't matter. I know you think no one understands, and I know you feel like it's the end, but it's not, and he does. He understands. He's felt all of that, and you know, his timing is the best, and I know things are hard for people, but you don't have to understand why he loves you, but he does. And there is hope, and that's the worst feeling, you know, alone and hopeless. I feel like that's the worst two things it breaks my heart when I hear people say. Someone told me yesterday they felt alone. It's my brother, actually. It's like, you're not alone. And, you know, telling somebody that doesn't know God is like, I remember when I didn't know who Jesus was, and I felt alone. And the woman that runs the house I'm at, she told me that they lend us hope until I have a hope of my own. I want to tell people these things for, you know, proof of Christ's work on the cross. Like, I am not a statistic, and that is not because of a, you know, whatever. It's because Jesus literally found me and changed my heart. Without Jesus, I would be in prison today. And when I got out, who knows what would have happened. I've been clean 16 months. I've been out of the life 16 months. Jesus really, really did change my life. You know, I never would have imagined in my whole life I'd wake up every morning and talk to God as the first thing I do. I never would have thought I'd be one of those people. I now know how much he values me, how much I'm worth, and what happiness feels like. My life has really been redeemed, and there is hope. Jesus is a life changer.